Hey guys, welcome in. It is Brad with College SportsCast, and we are here to do our fifth edition of the Big Blue HoopsCast. What's up, guys? It is Brad with College SportsCast. We are here to talk about Kentucky basketball. John, we got two teams that are 7-0 to talk about.
Yeah, exciting year. I will say Calipari was right. It is a basketball school. right now, there's a lot of problems in the football situation right now. So
I don't even want to talk about the football situation.
It's not looking good right now,
but we've got some fun times ahead here in the basketball. It's been a great start. As far as women's and men's, there's only two teams in the country two schools in the country with men's and women's teams that are still undefeated. Kentucky's one of them.
Yep.
Do you know the other one off the top of your head? There's only two teams, still both teams, men's and women's, undefeated.
Give me a hint. Are they in the top 10?
In men's, yes.
Wouldn't be UCLA, would it? Or no, UCLA's not. No.
It's Tennessee. It's Tennessee. According to what I seen earlier today, there's only two teams in the country, both men's and women's.
I was thinking UCLA women, and I thought didn't UCLA men, ain't they undefeated, or did they lose a game? I can't remember.
They must have lost a game because I'm pretty sure the women are still undefeated.
They must have. Yeah.
I just saw that, and I thought it was interesting because it's Kentucky and Tennessee.
What's kind of crazy is, looking at the AP poll today, 3 of the top 5 is SEC schools in the men's. You got Auburn, Tennessee,
and Kentucky. And then the first thing I want to kind of talk about is the drop today. First time the net rankings come out for both women's and men's basketball today. It's the first polls for the net rankings. They don't come out till the 1st of December each year. I like that, John. I like that it gives you 6, 7, 8 games of stats and stuff before they come out. What do you think?
Yeah, I do too. And a lot of people take the netting tool and they think it's for other things besides. Like, a lot of people think it's not a ranking. It's not a ranking. See, that's the thing. Like, T-Bracketology has to break it down on his thing all the time for people because they all think
it's a tool. It's a tool for seeding, basically.
For seeding
for the NCAA tournament. And they're doing it now in the women's. Actually, this is the first time that the women's have had net rankings this season. They've added it to the women's game, just like they have for the men's for the last, 5, 6 years, something like that the net rankings has been around. It's a great tool. They're doing the quad 1 wins and quad 2 and quad 3 losses, quad 4 losses and stuff, just like the men's.
I was actually reading up on the Kentucky part of it, the men's, and after Brown and Colgate, well, it might have been Brown. After that, they play is quad 1s and quad 2 games.
Yeah,
that's all they have.
I agree. So they just come out today. The women's Kentucky, as far as this is a Kentucky show, so we're going to talk about on the Kentucky side, the women's are 20th in the net rankings, top 20 here. Great for Kentucky women's and Kenny Brooks. They have 2 top 40 wins. They beat Illinois State or Illinois. We will talk about them in that game in just a few minutes. But they're number 28, and then they have beaten Louisville at home, and they're number 38 in the rankings. So they have 2 top 38 wins already.
And they got a big one Thursday night in Chapel Hill.
They do. They do. North Carolina is 21. Kentucky is 20. So in the net rankings. And then on the men's side, John, Kentucky was 8th in the net rankings today.
Yeah.
On the men's side, which, guys, if you've been following Kentucky in the net rankings the last 3 or 4 years, Kentucky's been lucky to stay in the 30s or 40s in the net rankings the last few years. To come out in the first one and be 8, that's solid.
I saw
it has to do with efficiency, offensive, defensive efficiency, and they rate all kinds of stuff in these rankings. Has to do with metrics.
And I'll say this too. I read something today. Somebody made a quote, said it took Mark Pope all but 1 month to get Kentucky back in the top 5. I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah, absolutely. Bill says that the men have 17 quad 1 games left on the schedule.
That's insane.
Yeah.
That's because people don't realize that's because the SEC is loaded this year. You know,
it is absolutely
brutal. It's brutal.
It is. All right, John. We're going to talk a little bit about the women here to start the show here. We started out with the net rankings, talking a little bit about both, but the women today are still 14th in the AP poll after beating 19th ranked Illinois at the Music City Classic, 76-53. I was at this game. I was at these games that we're fixing to talk about with the Music City Classic. This was a tight game until late in the third quarter. And Kentucky just blew this game open. They had an 18-0 run in this game and blew this game open and just kind of blew the doors off of a good 19th ranked Illinois team, in Nashville. And it was an impressive win, John. You're muted. You're muted. There you go.
Clara Strack had 25 points. She topped with 15 rebounds. Tiana Key, she had a double-double. This team is fun to watch. And even Lawrence, she finished with 15. And
she was
Amelia
great in the
Hassett,
second half.
And Hassett had 10. Now, Illinois did lead early in the first quarter, 18-14 early. Adalia McKenzie for Illinois had 18. She's a really good player for Illinois.
It's they're a solid team. Illinois is.
They didn't shoot that well either. In the first half,
Kentucky's defense.
They had a lot to do
with it. They held
them
26.7% for the game.
They did.
Pretty solid.
And, like you said, this game was tight. It was 50-44 after 3, and then they outscored the Illini 26-9 in the fourth quarter, and pretty much put this game away. And the thing
is, put the game away with an 18-0 run is what they did.
And the thing is, Clara Strack and a bunch of these girls, they haven't even played their best ball yet. That's the scary part. Like they haven't actually put a real game together. I mean, there's been games where they've had decent runs, but they've not put a whole complete game together yet. And I'm interested to see if maybe we can have one of those Thursday night against North Carolina, which will be a tough test, especially on the road.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I agree with you 100% on that. So I've got you talking about Clara Strack. I've got a clip here. She was the MVP. She was named the MVP of the Music City Classic. She had 25 and 15 in this game. The first game, she had 24 and 10. There was 2 games in the Music City Classic, but this clip is her performance in the Illinois game. So enjoy this because she played lights out.
And you know what's crazy to me about all this is that she comes back next year.
She's just a sophomore, guys. Matter of fact, the Illinois game, it was her birthday. She did that 25 and 15 on her birthday. I told her after the game myself. I had a little interview with her, me and a couple of other of the media, and I got to tell her happy birthday straight, right there with her that night. So that was cool. And to come out and play that way on her birthday was pretty special. And to get the MVP.
Well, and I was really surprised, Brad, that a lot of the media did not go down. Like you said, KSR wasn't there. There was hardly any media there covering the girls. And that was that was really surprising to me, considering the
shout out to Rise Up Media, College SportsCast with me, and also with the Courier Journal.
Courier Journal, yeah.
For being in Music City. Caroline was there with Courier Journal. All right, so that's a little bit about the Illinois game, which was the big game there. But the game before that was against Arizona State. They're a power conference team as well. Kentucky women handed them a loss 77-61. That was on Tuesday night in Music City. And in that game, I want to talk a little bit about Georgia Amore in that game. In that game, Georgia Amore had her 700th career assist in that game. And Kenny Brooks had a little something special for her for her 700th career assist in that game. And I've got to at least give her a little shout out here with a clip. So that clip was Georgia Amore dropping dimes, John.
Yeah, dropping dimes. Like nobody's business.
Yeah. 700 career assists, guys, is a lot of assists.
And the thing that really jumped out to me was, no pun intended, Kentucky jumped out to a 42-23 lead right out of the gate. At halftime. It looked like for a little bit they was going to run away with it, and Arizona State kind of got back in the game in the third quarter. They got it down to, single digits in the fourth, but Kentucky pulled away late. Clara Strack had another big game, 24 points, 10 rebounds. Like you said.
And Tayona Key was special in that game too.
Yeah, she recorded a double-double, 16 points and 13 boards. So this was an all-in-all.
6 blocks.
Yeah.
In that game for Key.
this was all in all a really good game on their end too. That's back-to-back games where Clara Strack has had double-digit scoring. That says a lot for
double doubles.
What she's going to be in SEC play when it comes up here close to January.
That's true. All right. Before we move on from the Kentucky women's basketball and the Arizona State game, I've got a clip here. It's a little over a minute long of some action during the Arizona State game. So I'm going to show that.
Amor gets loose, free throw line out to Strack, 18-footer off the left elbow, good. Rowe, though, saves it into Strack. Ahead of the pack to Key. She's one-on-one with Parkinson. Key in the lane, left-hand hook, good, and a foul's called on the Sun Devils. Strack hits the handoff, comes into the lane, a little fadeaway shot is good. They find Deja Lawrence, short corner jumper off the left baseline, good. Amor drives right, puts up the floater, good, off the right side. Here's Silva, free throw line jumper, got it, trap on Amor. Amor gets around it, rolling right. Amor lobs it to Key under the basket for the layup. Beautiful assist by Amor. He drives into the lane. Key takes it away. Clears it ahead to Amor. 2-on-1. Amor bounce pass Rowe. Back to Strack for the layup. Good, and a foul. 11. Now back to Skinner, and Amor steps in front of the pass. Off the steal. Amor lays it in on the other side.
And Kentucky controls most of the way, and they win this one 77-61.
If you guys haven't watched the girls play, you need to join in. I know that they've been on ESPN Plus or SEC Plus for most of their games. Check them out, man. It's not that expensive to have that. And this is a fun team to watch. You can see, Georgia Amor dropping dimes. You can see Deja Lawrence hitting shots. You can see Clara Silva hitting shots. Clara Strack has range. She's 6'5", guys. She's taller than I am. I'm almost 6'3", and I was standing in front of her the other night. For a girl 6'5" to step out, she was 3 of 6 in the Music City Classic from the 3-point line at 6'5". That's pretty special. All right, guys, we are going to move on to an upcoming game for the women. On Thursday night, the women play number 16, North Carolina, in Chapel Hill. This will be the first true road game. They did go on the road for the Music City Classic in Nashville, neutral site games. But this will be the first true road game, John. And this North Carolina team is 7-1. Their only loss is to number 2 UConn and Cage Beckers. So,
and this is to add to your point, this is a homecoming of sorts for Tiana Key. She's from Cary, South Carolina, or North Carolina, and she was in the Jordan Brand Classic. She played on the girls' national team. She was a 2021 McDonald's All-American. I think she was ranked 9th in the class. She stayed home.
Are you looking at my article?
Oh no, I'm not. I was just thinking. No.
Okay.
I have notes written down.
All right.
The thing I like about Key is her ability to go coast to coast. She finishes on the other end. Her ability to step out, shoot the 3-pointer. She handles the ball really good.
6'4", and got handles like a guard.
And it makes for a matchup nightmare. She's 3rd in the country in blocks. As of Sunday, I believe. They'll head, like you said, they're going to head to Chapel Hill to take on her former team. Tar Heels are really, really good. This game will not only be a test for where they stand, but it'll be also a challenge to see where Tiana Key has come from her injury, her comeback. See where she's, how far she progressed.
So, this game, there's a lot of girls on this team, on this Kentucky team, that has come from the ACC. I mean, Georgia Amore, you've got Teone Key at North Carolina, you've got Clara Strack, you've got an assistant coach that was at Miami that's on this Kentucky team. So, I mean, there is some ACC connections here, and they have been used to playing this North Carolina team. So it's going to be interesting to see.
No, I wouldn't look at your article. I had notes written down in my Microsoft.
Well,
he's like, I
just dropped a new article, and a whole lot of that is in there. It is on Teone Key. Teone Key, she is, like I said, she was a top 10 player coming out of her class. She's from Cary, North Carolina. She stayed at home, chose to stay at home, but she blew out her knee in the preseason before her freshman year. And she is kind of just now coming back into her own off of injury.
If people don't remember,
down years after injury.
If people don't remember, her sister played at Tennessee.
Her sister played at Tennessee. Tamari Key. She graduated last year. Tamari Key. She's 6'7". Her sister is. Teone is 6'4", but she's got handles. Her sister was a big girl in the middle, basically, for Tennessee. Got a lot of rebounds, block shots, scored in the paint. But Teone, man, she can step out. So
she's a matchup nightmare for a lot of teams.
So I've got it on there. Two articles that I have written this week is Clara Strack about her MVP performance at the Music City Classic. You can check it out at stadiumrant.com. Also today, I wrote the article on Teone Key returning home to play her former team. She chose to stay home at North Carolina and then transferred to Kentucky this year. And we at Kentucky are glad that she did. She is really coming on and helping out Coach Brooks with his first team here. The Cats are 7-0. This ACC SEC challenge is going to be a huge event, men's and women's. But there is a lot of good top 20 matchups on the women's side as well in this thing. South Carolina and Duke play. There is a lot of good matchups in this ACC SEC challenge. And Kentucky is one of them that has two top 20 teams here in this game on Thursday night. And if you haven't got to watch them this year, check them out. This game is national TV on ESPN2 Thursday night. Check them out because they are playing lights out. It's on the road, first road test against a good ranked team here. So we will see exactly what happens here. This is a game early on preseason. I would have thought we would have dropped, just to be honest. But after seeing us play, I give us a pretty good chance to go.
I'll go as far as saying that if they beat North Carolina, they have a really good big opportunity to finish the non-conference slate undefeated. If they beat North Carolina Thursday, they go to Purdue.
I do too. Yeah,
they go to Purdue.
Play Purdue. Purdue's not as good as North Carolina, on the road, to be honest. And yes, I love Cassidy Rowe. She is absolutely Kentucky through and through, and you can tell it. In that Arizona State game, I think it was the Arizona State game. No, I take it back. It was the Illinois game, I think. They had what looked like a clear breakaway, and Cassidy Rowe hustled her tail off and got in position under the basket and drew a charge. And that's kind of what sparked that late run was the team was all, cheering and high-fiving and everything after Cassidy chased him down and drew that charge. And kind of late in that game, they went on the 18-0 run. And I think Cassidy was kind of, spearheaded that run a little bit just by a hustle play. And a lot of times that's what spears, some life into the game, because, just sheer hustle. So that's what she did that night. I mean, she's been playing really great. She's been playing probably about 25, 28 minutes a game off the bench, and she's been fantastic. All right, so guys, ESPN2 Thursday night, Kentucky versus North Carolina women's basketball. Check them out. And before we go off here, go to stadiumrant.com. Check out my 2 articles this week. I do have one on Clara Strack, her MVP performance, and one on Teone Key. All right, so the new AP poll come out today, John. On the men's side, we're going to switch to the men's side of things here. And Kentucky moved all the way up to number 4 in the country. What do you think about that?
Like I said, it took Mark Pope a month to get this team in the top 5. Now they haven't looked the greatest from behind the arc the last couple of games, but like you told me a couple of days ago, that's going to happen over the course of the year. They're going to have games where they don't shoot that well. But the main thing that I'm concerned with, Brad, going into the game tomorrow night and even Gonzaga Saturday, is their defense. Gonzaga's offense can score in bunches. And, our defense is not the best. Now, I think in Kim Palm, they're in the top 30 maybe. But the defense is going to have to get better if we're going to at least have a shot to get to the Sweet 16 or even farther than that. Because there's sometimes where we have lapses. And like even Kobe Brea struggles defensively at times. Even Jackson Robinson struggles at times. And that's
there are some pieces.
There is.
Owen's good. Butler's good. Amari Williams is good on the defensive end. There are some pieces there.
There is. And I think, too, like you said, if the threes do not fall, they're going to have to rely a lot on their defense. Even if the shots are falling, they have to defend. They have to defend well. The way Kentucky plays, though, they will have some games where the threes aren't falling, and they're going to have to lock down on defense. But here's another thing. Kentucky can go on a 10-0 run in a blink of an eye. So if the defense just plays a half-average game, they're going to have a great year and be in most of these games. You got Lamont Butler, like you said, Otega Oweh.
100%, Zach.
Those are and Amari Williams are probably the 3.
It is a test week. Are
probably the 3 lockdown guys on defense. All these guys have played well, I think, on this end of the floor. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with Clemson this week. And
before we get into the Clemson, let's go back and talk a little bit about the Georgia State game. Kentucky won 105-76. The one thing that I will bring up here, John, Kentucky is averaging over 96 points a game and number 1 in scoring through these 7 games. Now, outside of Duke, we really haven't played too strong of a schedule, I don't feel like yet. So, I'm not sure where that's going to fall because I don't see us averaging 96 points a game through the SEC and through these games this week
now,
and that.
Now, I disagree on a it depends on the style of play that the other team plays. Like Alabama likes to run up and down the floor. Gonzaga likes to run up and down the floor. Then you're going to have
games. As a whole is what I mean.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. And then you're going to have games against Tennessee where you're going to be biting your fingernails trying to get because Tennessee's defense is really good. You know, you got Mississippi State. It's got a good there's going to be.
Let's hope it's not Calipari and it's 55-52 in a Tennessee game.
It's going to be. You're going to have some games where you score some, and then you're going to have some rock fights, and that's just part of it because everybody has a different game plan. So,
John, I want to ask you about this game here in particular. All right. There was a guy by the name of Clash Peters that was in this game with Georgia State. I don't know if y'all went back and watched some of the clips in this game, but this dude was about as dirty of a player that you will see in today's game. Now, I remember seeing stuff like that all the time when I was growing up in the 80s. Like that was pretty common. Like you would go and there would always be somebody to come off the bench that really wasn't a part of the starting five, and they would just hack the shit out of you all game long.
Here's the thing.
That was kind of what happened.
And another thing I don't know if people missed it, but I noticed it towards the end. Was the end of the first half when they put a shot up or something, he elbowed a guy right going into halftime. I don't think people saw that towards the end. Like they saw it at the end of the game, but he elbowed him going to coming into the goal. And I'm like, is the referee did he not just call a foul there or what happened? But
I mean, he just basically laid out
Amari Williams.
Carr.
Oh, it was Carr
that I seen.
It was Carr the first time. And then the second time was Amari Williams.
I mean, he just took his and just laid him out. I mean, I was
and then the second time,
was 80s stuff right there.
The second time he went into Amari Williams and he made Kentucky so mad they got whipped. Like Kentucky went ballistic after that. They were struggling. They couldn't shoot, and that team
set them off. It was almost a brawl in this game, and it was 59-53 in this game, and I don't think a lot of Kentucky fans seem to remember that. But then there was that brawl thing, pretty much nearly a brawl because of the hit by this Clash Peters guy against Amari Williams, and then after that, Kentucky just basically like I said, something sparked them. That's what happened. And then Kentucky outscored them like 23 points or something to end the game, but this game was a lot tighter than it ever really should have been until that almost brawl.
And that was the first time I've ever seen Mark Pope get after the officials too. He was getting after them at the end of the first. I've never seen him go after the officials like he did in the first half. Oh, well, Bill just said.
I mean, guys, I don't know if y'all saw some of the clips of this dude that I'm talking about, but I'm telling you, it reminded me of 80s basketball. Like
the bad boys.
I thought Kevin McHale was on the floor. I mean, seriously. I mean, Kurt Rambis and Kevin McHale.
Yeah,
is what I thought.
The bad boys, Detroit Pistons.
If y'all do not know Kevin McHale and Kurt Rambis clip, y'all are not basketball fans. He damn near took his head off.
Yeah, you gotta watch over
that. I mean, like Bill Laimbeer, blood running down his face, swinging at people.
Another Matt Sack brought up a pretty funny point. It might have been Matt Sack or Pilgrim, I can't remember. But they had a picture of Clash Peters from back in high school, and he had a Duke shirt on, and somebody said it figures.
No, I didn't see that.
He had a Duke shirt on, and somebody said now it makes more sense.
Yeah, that would make a little more sense. Yeah, I agree with you on there. All right,
did you know that
I am going to show a couple.
Did you know that his uncle is Cherokee Parks?
No, I didn't.
His uncle was Cherokee Parks from Duke.
Okay. I do have a couple of clips from this game. I want to give Ansley Alomar a little shout out here. I think he is playing his role spectacular on this team. And what I love about this dude is he never expected to be here. He never expected to be at a place like Kentucky. And he really seems to just enjoy it and just love being here and love playing his role. So I'm going to give a little shout out here to him. Here's 12 points from him against Georgia State.
Pass to the right corner. Almanor, his three, money. 26 attempts. Second three of the night for Georgia. Quickly the other way. Georgia State. Butler spins away from Brown. Pass to the right corner. Almanor, three. Got it. Almanor comes out to take the pass on the left wing. Feeds it into Williams. Back to Almanor. Layup good. Pretty give and go.
Boy, that's a kind of simple pass.
Don't you just love Jack Givens? Every time the ball goes in, he's always saying something. Like he's always happy. But he never hates a shot. He never hated a shot.
Lexington native, by the way.
Jack Goose Givens.
Bryant Station. But I got to say, man, I mean, Ansley Alomar has been he doesn't get a lot of pub. I mean, everybody else is talking about Kobe Bria and Jackson Robinson, and rightfully so. I'm not going to sit here and act like they shouldn't be talked about. But I really love the role that Ansley Alomar is playing here on this team. He comes off the bench. He loves being here. He loves wearing the blue. It means so much to him. You can hear it when he talks. And then when he comes out and plays, man, I mean, just he plays the flow of the game. He gets 6, 8, 10, 12 points a game. He's lights out from the three-point line. What do you think about Alomar? I think he's playing great.
I do too. And I think, and two, he hits shots when you need them. Like right there when Kentucky needed a run, he hit a three and the other team called – and the other coach called timeout. It's just like he does it when there needs to be a momentum play. And I love his demeanor. You know, people don't realize that this kid played at Fairleigh Dickinson, and he probably did not have a lot of looks coming out of high school. And for him to have this opportunity to come on the big stage and play for Kentucky says a lot about his demeanor and his character. And the way he embraces his role too, Brad. He just comes in and it's sort of like that 6-man guy comes off the bench in the NBA and he just does his work and goes home and just
absolutely. I agree with you.
What he needs to do and just goes up and goes the next game and does it again. Like to me, that's a sign of a really good, mature player.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I really like the role that he is playing on this team. I love his demeanor. I love how much he never expected to be here, to be at a place like this, and how much it means to him to have the opportunity. So, and for him to not only do that, but then to come out on the floor and to play like we just saw in that clip and add 3-pointers and add 12 points. And, I mean, he's just really been a solid player off the bench for this team.
And I'll say, we was talking about going on to Clemson. This is the first time Kentucky has played Clemson since 96 and 97. If people don't remember, Kentucky played Clemson in 96. Was it 90? Might have been 96. The year that
I'll be honest with you. I don't even remember the last time we played Clemson, to be honest.
It was 96 and 97. It's when they had Allen Edwards, Ron Mercer, Wayne Turner. They had Derek Anderson on that team. Jamal McGlure.
I remember the team. I just don't remember us playing Clemson.
I think he was a freshman. That's when they had Greg Buckner, This was Clemson. Terrell McIntyre, Harold Jameson. That's when Clemson actually had a really good team then. And you know who the coach was at Clemson then? Good old Rick Barnes from Tennessee.
Rick Barnes. Yeah,
He was the coach. Yeah. So
imagine that.
Imagine.
All right,
that.
so I do have one more player that I want to talk about in this Kentucky and Georgia State game, and that is Lamont Butler. I thought he played possibly his best game as a Cat so far. He had 17 points. I thought he played really downhill. I'm going to call him Downhill Butler in this clip.
Well,
I got a little clip of his play here.
Oweh going for the basket. It's blocked off the board, but picked up and dunked in by Williams, and a foul on Lane. Williams works his way down the lane, gets all the way underneath the basket, and goes up and scores. 6 straight for Amari Williams. Williams hands it off to Oweh. Oweh hooks it back to Williams for the dunk. Off the pick and roll, a pretty pass floated over Oweh's left shoulder right to the rim. Left wing feeds it into Williams. Back to Almanor, layup good. Pretty give and go.
Boy, that's just kind of simple.
Goes down and flips up a runner that's no good. Rebounded by Williams. He put it in, and he got fouled.
All right, it looks like I added the wrong clip. I thought I was adding the Butler clip, but that was the Amari Williams clip. But I really was impressed with Butler, the way he played in this game. I thought it was his best game as a Cat. So
I felt like early in the game, Georgia State couldn't guard him on the perimeter. He was going by him every single play. And, when Butler's like that, I think he can be as dominant of a point guard in the country. Because when Butler's shooting the ball really well and he kind of goes out and hits a three every once in a while, that changes the dynamics of this basketball team, I think, and it takes him to another level. But that's not his primary thing, is to shoot threes. His goal is to be an all-ball defender, defense, drive the ball, help get guys open. But when he hits those couple threes every once in a while, I think it opens up the offense a little bit.
It does. And that clip, like I said, sorry, guys, I added the wrong clip. I thought I was doing the Butler clip, but that was Amari Williams. I mean, he had 14 points and played well in this game as well. But I was impressed with Butler in this game. I thought it was his best game as a Cat so far. As far as just an overall game, he did have 17 points in this game. Was the second overall leader in scoring. Jackson Robinson had 19. And, in this game against Georgia State here, I think we had, John, quote, I think we had 7 players in double figures in this game.
And like you was talking about, the downhill stuff, I love these, to me, he's a downhill guy anyways. That's his
but game. It is, but I thought he played that downhill style really well and probably the best that I've seen him look at Kentucky so far.
I agree with you. I do.
Yeah. All right, so we are going to move on to upcoming games. There is 2 big ones this week. We've already kind of opened up and started talking about the Clemson game just a little bit. That is part of the SEC ACC Challenge. The men's SEC ACC Challenge is Tuesday and Wednesday nights. The women's is Wednesday and Thursday nights. Mm-hmm. And Kentucky plays on Thursday in women's and Tuesday at Clemson. And Clemson they only have 1 loss. They're like 6-1, 7-1, something like that. John, were they ranked this week? I didn't see the full poll.
You're talking about Clemson? No.
Clemson. Yeah.
No, there was not.
They're right up. They're close. They probably had some votes. Did they have some votes?
I think they had. I think they had some. Yes.
I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't have some votes.
this Clemson team is a little bit different. Like I said, than a year ago. PJ Hall's not there anymore.
Well, they don't have PJ Hall. Yeah.
Now they got Dylan Hunter. He comes off the bench. Chauncey Wiggins. He's a real big plus for them. Chase Hunter is really good. Shekelin, Ian Shekelin, the big man for Clemson is really good.
He's tough. Yeah, he's tough.
So I think early in the year, I think this is.
I agree with that, Jeremy.
I think this is the best for both teams. A win for Clemson would probably signify Brownell's program as getting recognition and say, well, what we did last year is not a fluke. But if they lose Tuesday, it's still going to say to me that they're still a work in progress. Maybe Tuesday night's game don't provide a definite answer on both sides, but at the end of the day, it's a big game early in the year. Kentucky don't have a lot of these non-conference games on the road. So these two are going to be kind of crucial going into SEC play, I think. And Kentucky's a 2.5-point favorite too. So
it's a big week. I mean, you're going on the road for the first time. Now the Seattle, the game against Gonzaga is technically not an away game.
No, it's
in Seattle, just minutes away from Gonzaga's campus. I mean, it's at a bigger stadium, bigger, arena. It's not technically at their home arena, but let's be honest, it's as close to an away game as you're going to get going out to play Gonzaga in Seattle. I mean,
yeah, it's a tough environment, especially because they're going to have a lot of fans there. And
John, I won't be honest with you. Outside of Auburn, I think Gonzaga has looked the absolute best in the country outside of Auburn.
I do, but that game against West Virginia was a head scratcher. They just lost composure.
I will give you that. They had a lead in that game, had a 5-point lead. They should have closed that game out.
They didn't. Their late game execution was not good. They got into overtime.
It wasn't. I agree with you.
And West Virginia made shots, and they didn't. That's basically what it boils down to.
They had a 5-point lead with like 30 seconds to go in that game and missed 2 free throws. That was the start of their downfall, was missing free throws. If you hit those 2 free throws, you probably win that game.
Here's the thing that really impresses me about Kentucky. We seen it with Duke, the Duke game. Is the late game execution. Everybody wants to talk about how back when Calipari was here, we'd play style ball, and you couldn't get the win down the stretch. This is a different team. The way like you said, the way they defended Cooper Flagg, a year ago in these type of games, you probably lose those games. Let's be honest. It's going to be interesting to see how they connect this with this December schedule coming up with Clemson, Gonzaga. They're probably going to lose one. They're probably going to have a game where they don't play good, and fans are going to be like, well, the end of the world's coming. Pope's lost the game. Fire the Pope. That's just how fans do. But here's the thing that I want to say is in these type of games, when the pressure is on some of these guys, especially guys that are transfers, I think they're under a different type of late game execution that they can finish a game like a Gonzaga or Clemson now than they did a year ago or 3 years ago because of the transfers. And the
since you're talking about all that, Otia Owe was asked a little bit about going out on the road and some of the late game execution and stuff like that. And I've got a little clip. This is I think yesterday, I believe. I'm not 100% sure.
I
It
believe
might
it
have been
was
today,
it might have been
but
yesterday
this is
because they left on a plane today, so it might have been yesterday.
yeah, I think it was yesterday. This is Otia Owe and Otiga Owe and talking about the road trip and late game execution.
I mean, that one was our first test because we faced a lot of adversity in that game. So just being able to see that we were able to grow from it and still find a way to win. I mean, that's huge on the road because sometimes you're not always going to get the whistle, you're not always going to get the ball to fall the right way that you want to. So, just finding different ways, and I think we did that. So these 2 road games are definitely we're gonna have some ups and downs, but as long as we get through it, which we will.
See, that's a sign of a mature player and a guy that knows how to win late in the game. That's what I say when you have experience and you have a team that is experienced enough to handle those certain situations down the stretch. I think it's going to prove to be big for Mark Pope in December and January when they get into SEC play.
It is big. It's going to be huge for Pope if they can. Jeremy, I agree with you.
I'll go as far as saying this, Brad. Now, I know they might lose a game here and there, but could you imagine if Kentucky goes in here and comes 2-0 out of this? I mean, just think about it.
It'd be a real big statement, and it will fuel Pope's win them all attitude, basically. Which listen, I'm not sitting here saying that I wouldn't enjoy winning them all. I'm a Kentucky fan, but at the same time, as a fan, you're going to drop a few here and there. I mean, you're not going to win them all, more than likely. I would love to think that we could win them all, but
I will say this while we're on this topic about the schedule. I will say this, and I'm with Brad on this. They play Clemson tomorrow night, then they play Gonzaga Saturday night, and then they come home. I think it's Wednesday. I believe it's Wednesday, and they play Colgate. And then I think they play the following Saturday against Ohio State. I think that's how it goes. I can't remember.
Ohio State's the 21st. It's the Louisville game after that.
It's the Louisville game.
We play Louisville and then Ohio State.
And after that, Brad, there's barely any basketball play.
Yeah.
For almost the whole 11 days, 10 days.
Yeah.
Me and Brad had this conversation the other day.
Men's and women's are both off through Christmas for 4 or 5 days. There is no college basketball. None. For 4 or 5 days. None.
Hey, Brad.
Yeah.
You probably have to get to know your family that week.
I mean, what in the world are we going to do? There is no college basketball at all. From the 23rd to the 28th or something like that, there's no basketball.
Rock around the Christmas tree. All I know to do, Brad.
I'm going to have to learn some Christmas jingles or something.
Or watch bowl games. Bowl games will be going on during that time. There'll be a lot of bowl games going on during that time. So, if you like football, but that wouldn't. I wouldn't try to bring that up. I know we had talked about that. With the schedule, you said you didn't really like the schedule with that, how you just don't have that many games. I don't think it's not so much the time being off. I think it just you get into bad habits when you stay off that long, and you take too long off. I think
it does. It kind of creates some bad habits. I'm actually glad, John, that the schedule, as far as a challenging schedule, is picking up for the men's. I've been kind of complaining about the schedule. They played 7 games. 6 of them are against low-tier teams, to be quite honest with you. Outside of, Western, but they're not that great. They got a first-year head coach. And then, we played Duke. And I really haven't been real happy, to be honest with you, about the schedule. I think it creates bad habits. I think it, when you play these, just like the Georgia State game, it was a 59-53 game with 13 minutes to go in the game. There's no excuse for that. But when you play game after game after game against some of these teams, it gets a little mundane. You start creating some bad habits.
I'll be honest with you, Brad. I've said it for a while now, even when Calipari was here. When you play these type games, and nothing against the mid-majors, nothing against the lower-tier schools, but it's hard to get up for those games. Like it would be getting up for a Tennessee or Alabama or
100%.
It's hard, man, because
stay motivated, be motivated to even practice, much less play, when you know for 3 solid weeks that you're going to play Jackson State and Georgia State. You know what I mean? Let's be honest.
What it is, in the back of your mind, you're thinking we're just going to roll these guys. And you get out there and you think, well, we get a lead and we get complacent. And then we start having habits, and then they start hitting shots.
So I'm very excited and happy to see that our next games are at Clemson, in Seattle against Gonzaga. Then we do get one game. I'm not against one game here and there in between. We do get the one game with Colgate. Then we're back to Louisville and Ohio State. So 4 of our next 5 games are real challenging games. And I like to see that, especially heading into the SEC.
You want to know what I'm kind of excited about? You want to know what I'm kind of excited about, Brad?
What's that?
Getting back into feast week games. getting back to actually playing in these MTE feast week games with Pope.
Oh yeah, man. I can't. I've been complaining to John, like all these big time games are going on and Kentucky's nowhere to be seen. Like I heard, found. You got Auburn playing these great big games, Bama playing these big games, Duke, Kansas, North Carolina, everybody else, all these blue bloods are playing these games, and Kentucky is over here going like this. I mean, I just, we're twiddling thumbs over here.
Yeah.
Let's play some ball and play in these games.
I did hear through the grapevine though that in the next couple of years that we're trying to get into the battle for Atlantis.
Something.
And I think that would be neat. Give us an opportunity to play down there. So
yes,
I would love to go back to Maui. I would love to go back to Maui.
This Players era, Maui, Battle for Atlantis. I mean, somewhere we've got to get into something so we are a part of this, because it feels like Kentucky for weeks, 3 weeks, has done nothing but seriously sit and twiddle our thumbs while all these teams are playing these games.
Now, I will say I wouldn't even care to be in the Myrtle Beach Invitational. I mean, as long as we're there,
Over some of this, yeah. Seriously.
Yeah.
I'm not even playing. I am so excited to see that we are playing 4 or 5 of our next games against solid opponents. And I'll be honest with you, I don't even care if we take a loss. It teaches us. As bad as some Kentucky fans will say and be about taking a loss, you learn. If you're a good coach and you're a good player and you have a solid mind, you learn from mistakes and from losing.
See, that's the thing that I say about Pope is, a loss is going to make him strive for better results.
Jeremy.
I know where he was going with that one. I'm not even going that direction. I'm not even going there. I know where he was headed with that. Oh.
I'm glad to see the competition pick up. I don't want us to pick up bad habits. I don't want us to lose motivation. It's difficult to, like I said, even practice and be at, all out when you're playing Jackson State and Georgia State over the next 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just
Brad,
much less the games.
Hey, Brad, we're built for March, brother.
Yeah, I hope so. But I don't want that. I don't want that to be a moniker. I can tell you that. I'm tired of that.
Oh goodness.
I'm tired of that one, John. Lord have
you're not ready for the tweet?
Move on?
You're not ready for the tweak at Christmas?
Oh God! I swear, when I see you this month, I'm going to slap you.
Yes.
All right, guys.
I'm taking him out for Christmas dinner. Everybody, be praying because we might hurt each other.
Yeah, we're going to get together for Christmas, little get together here in a couple of weeks. So
I just give him a hard time.
But guys, check out. I know everybody's going to be paying attention to the Clemson and the Gonzaga game. Go check out the girls on ESPN2 Thursday night. And check them out. They have a very, very good team. They're big, they're long, they are leading the country in block shots. They have 3 girls that are averaging nearly 10 rebounds a game. They play great defense. They're number 2 in the country. The women's team is number 2 in the country in field goal defense. They're under 30, averaging they're under 30%, 29 something. They're number 2 in the country.
Last I looked, Kentucky the men's was first in field goal defense, but I don't know if that's changed since Georgia State. They was.
Well, if it is, the girls are 2. The women are number 2. The only team better than them in the country is Mississippi State by like 1 or 1.5% field goal.
Now I will say this. I was going to mention this at the. I don't know if you're going to stop here. Our show's probably going to be at 7 tomorrow night or 8.
It is because Kentucky's
early.
I've got it scheduled for 7:15. I've done that because we're going to be talking a whole lot about the college football playoff, and it starts at 7. I'm pretty sure.
It's at 7.
Yeah. So we're going to come on just as it's kind of starting so we can kind of talk about some of that tomorrow night. But
just a FYI, Brad, it's about to get hairy.
I can't wait. I'm super excited about the college football playoff, but I'm also really excited about Kentucky basketball and the men's and the women's. Check out my articles at Stadium Rant. Check out the women's on ESPN2 Thursday night against North Carolina, SEC, ACC Challenge. There's some other big-time games. You got Notre Dame that's playing in that. You got LSU. You got Oklahoma. You got South Carolina. You got Duke. I mean, there's some big-time games on the women's side. The women's is Wednesday and Thursday. Thursday is the better night as far as ranked versus ranked. I think there's like 4 pretty big-time games Thursday night.
Actually,
the men's
Wednesday
has
night,
a lot.
There's a lot.
Has a lot.
Now, tomorrow night there's a few games here kind of sprinkled in.
Yeah.
But Wednesday night is the you got
Alabama.
That's what I say.
Wednesday night's kind of the big night for the men's, and Thursday night is kind of the big night for the women's.
You got Bruce Pearl going to Duke. Are you kidding me?
Duke. Cameron indoor, number 1 team in the country right now. Auburn
that's going to be interesting.
Does Duke pick up their 3rd big-time loss? Just saying. I mean, this is a great week of college basketball, guys. The next 3 nights are fantastic. If you're a college basketball fan, it is a fantastic week for college basketball and for Kentucky. If you're a Kentucky basketball fan, it's a fantastic week for Kentucky. I'm super excited about it. We will see you guys tomorrow night. We will be doing our Big Fuss show, mainly talking about college football playoff. We will do a little bit of talk on the Big 12, Big East battle, and the SEC, ACC challenges tomorrow night, and do a little bit of talk on that, but it'll mainly be college football playoff. Guys, I appreciate it. Everyone, I appreciate it. We will see you tomorrow night. This has been College SportsCast, the Big Blue HoopsCast. This was episode 5, and we are in season 3. Y'all have a good night.
Have a good one.